everyone. Wow, I can't see a thing. Might as well take these off. Everything has changed. So we do crazy stuff today, right? Like one thing we do, we take the phone, right? And this I just learned to do, multitask. Here we go. Take a selfie on stage, okay? Tweet it, just like that. I'll do it after. And then you can tag yourself in the tweet, and it's all fun. Because another thing that's changed is that sessions used to be 1 hour, now they're 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes from now, you'll be asking yourselves, where's my other 40 minutes, and why hasn't Daniel figured out how to speak quickly? 2 years ago, we used to hire social people. Now we're hiring content people. 2 years ago, I used to say, if people asked me what is Rujum, for instance, I would have said it's a B2B content marketing platform that boosts your ROI on your marketing assets and adds value to your organization. Yeah, nowadays we say something like, you just take content from the web, put it together, and creates a mini site for you in seconds, and that's fucking awesome. And we do that on stage. I mean, we say things like that on stage. I used to fire people for saying that, right? Everything is different. And one thing that's different is this. We used to build companies in a way where we basically asked, what is the price of our product? What is our product worth? What are people willing to pay for it? And we used to figure out, okay, well, to make that product, it'll cost me $9 out of the $10 they're willing to pay for it, or however much, right? So therefore, I'm going to have to really squeeze my manufacturing, and whatever money is left out of that, that's the operating profit, I'm going to figure out, well, I have to put something into marketing, right? Well, that's different. It's totally different now. Because the cost of manufacturing, well, nobody even makes anything. We just kind of outsource it. We design stuff, right? And we decide how we can figure out how to make it. Most of the stuff doesn't really even cost that much to make. And so nowadays the way we do is we work on, okay, what's the gross profit we want to reach? How much profit do we want to make? And if Apple wouldn't have started this way, they wouldn't have existed, right? They would have said, okay, everybody's willing to pay $100 a cell phone. We can't ever sell one for $800. We'll just have to figure out a way to do something for less. No, they manufacture a cell phone for $150 and sell it for $800. And the way they do it is they say, what's the cost for me to get somebody to market and sell this product that'll bring me the profit margin I want? Okay. The marketing is the business. That's the difference. The manufacturing used to be the business. Now the marketing and sales is the business. Very different approach. And if you're a marketing manager in a company and you don't get that, you shouldn't be a marketing manager. And if your CEO doesn't get that, they shouldn't be a CEO. That's the difference. You figure out the price after the fact. But to do that, what you have to do is you have to understand, you have to build a marketing plan that's based on this kind of system, right? You say, I want to make a plan where I'm going to acquire users or customers or visitors, whatever I call those, right, at a given price. That is my target, because that's what's going to give me the margins. I need to know exactly how many I'm going to bring. And that's a little bit different. And this means that we have to know, we have to measure everything, we have to know exactly how much money we've spent on every single part of our process to bring somebody to that point. So if somebody visited our store, I have to know what did it cost me to market to get that person to come to the store. How much did it cost this conference for each and every one of you to sit down here today? That's a sale, right? How much did it cost? And from there, I can figure out, and then I can say, okay, if this is my target market, I know what gross profit I want, right? If you're talking about a booth out there, I need to think, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of money to buy a booth. I'm going to spend X amount of time and resources put it all together. I'm not going to be in the office during that time. How much money am I spending? How many leads am I going to get? How much am I going to pay per each lead from this booth? Everything is constantly measured, everything all the time. Now, there are three assumptions here in this strategy, right? A is that markets are transparent. We know everything. We know how much things cost. And it usually is true It's not always true. So we know that in the ad exchanges, we know how much it costs to advertise online. We know how much it costs to advertise in a newspaper. We know how much it costs to do work on social media, or whatever it is that we're doing, right? How much it costs to rent this place like this. It's not a secret anymore. But sometimes there are markets that are a little more opaque, or that scale gives you different opportunities. But generally speaking, nowadays, markets are transparent. So we know ahead of time what things are going to cost us, or we can assume, right? We can say, cost of acquisition in my industry for an online user, say, or an online visitor is X dollars. An online visitor, by the way, can be a few cents or several cents for a user. It's usually $10 to $20 for a free user, right? These are the standards we're talking about. How much does it cost to bring somebody into my store? A little bit different. But we kind of know. We know these things today. And this also means, because it's transparent, that we're all kind of the same. The costs are similar for everybody in my niche or my industry. And there's always this kind of argument about it where people tell me, no, but I have a secret, or I use somebody that's cheaper. But if you use somebody that's cheaper, I can use somebody that's cheaper. And maybe you have a shortcut today, but that shortcut is not going to be there tomorrow. So when you're making a plan, you don't assume any shortcuts. You assume that you're going to use the market price. It's going to cost as much as it's going to cost. If you achieve a shortcut, hey, you did better than the plan. Good for you. But it's a big, big sin is to make a plan based on, I managed to make a shortcut and I hired somebody. It wasn't quite out of school yet and it was cheaper, so next year I'm going to hire 10 of those. It doesn't work anymore, right? You made a shortcut once. And another assumption, everything can be measured. And don't tell me that you can't measure certain things, like street signs. Yeah, we can measure the effectiveness of those. Can we measure accurately? No, but we can measure. If 1,000 people pass by your street sign, one of them should say, hey, I noticed your street sign, right? There's a statistical signal there. There's some kind of signal. We can put coupons in. We can tell people, hey, use the link, www.regime.com/whatever, to get a discount. And we see how many people clicked it. And we can assume X percentage of people use that link, so therefore we have a signal that our strategy is working. What if we haven't started yet? We have nothing to base on. We have no baseline to work with. Well, make an assumption. You have a theory. You put it into the plan, and you say, I'm going to measure to see if it works. My theory is that in this new channel I'm going to try, I'm going to reach a cost of acquisition of $1,000 per lead. Okay, let's try it out. If the first part of the budget is going to say, I'm going to put in $10,000 towards it. And when it doesn't work, I'm going to squeeze it down to $5,000. And if I haven't improved, and I'm still at $20,000 per lead, or well, $10,000, I'm $10,000 per lead, right? Then I cut it out. My theory didn't work. I'm testing my theory. As long as it's a theory, it stays that way in my budget. We also have different stages of the funnel, what we call the funnel, where different companies call this different way, and different departments call these different things, right? So somebody will call this top of the funnel, or tofu, mofu, and bofu. Top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and lower part of the funnel, right? We could call it, leads and sales and prospects. Everybody calls it different stuff, but we're going to associate different channels to different parts, and we're going to map it out. So if I brought in 1,000 people to this conference up here, and they spend $1,000, that's $1 a person. But if out of them only 100 moved here, that's now $10 per person, right? And maybe it's $100 per person here. So that's how I'm going to measure it in general, right? And I'm going to just keep going on that. And how do I go back? Oh. Okay. So I'm going to put this here in a spreadsheet. This is my plan. This is how we start working. And I'm going to say, well, for conferences, for instance, okay? My plan says I'm going to do $30 per lead. How am I going to do that? Don't know yet. But that's what I need to do in order to get my gross profit. And I know that in general, my plan, my CEO said, bring in 1,000 leads this year. That's what the plan calls for. That's it. That's all my CEO has to tell me, is bring in 1,000 leads at $30 per lead. So in some channels it's going to be more, and some channels are going to be less, but I'm going to have that kind of control. And I'm going to say, okay, in conferences, I'm going to bring $30 per lead, right? I'm going to put a booth out there. And I know that 12% of those convert into a sale. And so if I'm going to do $30 per lead at basically divide by 0.12, which is 12%, I get $250 a sale. Yes, okay? Question now is, how many can I get? How many conferences can I go to? Are they all going to work the same? From there, it's a management issue. If I know there's just not enough people in the conference to make it work out, right? Or a booth costs $30,000, just not going to work out in terms of numbers, I have to figure out something different. And because marketing is the business, marketing has to be disruptive. If we're going to do everything like everybody else, we're going to be at exactly like everybody else, we're going to disappear. So we have to do something different. So how can I come into a conference and do things differently? How can I change things? So maybe a booth, the numbers don't crunch, but I have to talk to the organizer and see, hey, let's bring a Google car out there and do something where people who go through a product demo stand in line and get in a Google car. Now I brought in a lot more leads. Nobody else does that. Going to cost me more money, but yeah, cost per lead, it's going to be less. So why do we end up in things like this? This is real. This is from yesterday, okay? Social media of Teva. Probably the biggest Israeli company right now, I think. Social post, 9 people like this. 9 fucking people. What the heck? Why are they doing this? What's the point? And I guarantee those 9 people, I had more likes on my post showing my new haircut yesterday. I mean, really, come on, you're paying people, they're not doing anything. Why? Because their marketing plan looks something like this, saying, last year, we did A in January. So this year, we'll do A in January, and hey, because our budget is increasing, then we'll do A plus a little bit more. So we'll hire one more person into social, or we'll tell our social agency, we need to do more social, put in more posts. Are they measuring? No, if they'd measure, they'd shut this thing down. Why does a pharmaceutical company need a Facebook page anyway? Next thing you know, they're going to put an Instagram page and put little photos of pills. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Who's measuring that stuff, right? What are you doing that's looking the same thing, right? Where it's kind of like stupid. Why am I doing this, right? So you just keep looking at last year and you just add to it. Now, another weird thing is, usually the way it goes is our CEOs will tell us, hey, we're projected to increase sales next year, so we hired a bunch of salespeople. And so the year after that, I'm going to give you more budget for the marketing. Now, if you're a marketer, you're going to say, well, 1 second, how exactly are you going to increase sales if the budget for marketing comes after those sales happen? Right? It's completely backwards. That's how people think. It's backwards. First, you give money to the marketing. You say, get me leads at $30 a lead, and then I'll hire the salespeople. That's when these things don't happen anymore. So this is what a marketing plan looks like. You put in a list of everything, and you map everything to the stage, okay? And you can break it down to mini stages, and you say, top of funnel, middle funnel, lead gen, however it is you want to put it. And then you say the channel, and you map each one to whatever part of the channel they fit in. And you say, okay, webinars, they belong in lead gen, right? It's after I've already spent money in acquiring people to come to the site. I'm only going to show that to people who have given me their information. I know they're hot leads, they're worth their money. And I'm going to spend a lot of money on those webinars because it's worth it. Because I know that for every 100 people in the webinars, I get 63 hot leads out of it, right? That's different than just putting up a webinar and saying, let's do more webinars. And you're going to measure it, and you're going to track all these people. And you're going to say, okay, but I know I need 50 leads for each webinar this month. 50 to come out of each webinar. Not less, hopefully more. And I need them at a price of X dollars per, in this case, sale here, right? So 50 leads, right? You can just do the conversion ratio and get cost per sale. And therefore, I know exactly the budget. And this is what I'm going to go back to my CEO and tell him, you want to get 2,000 sales this year or this quarter? This is how much money I need. Because I know the markets are transparent. I know how much I need to pay per lead and how much I need to pay per sale. Because I know my conversion ratio and I know the cost in the market to bring these people in. And so to do that, I simply multiply the two and I get my budget. That's reality. We can be a little disruptive, we can cut corners, we can be creative, but how are we going to grow sales if we don't do it this way, right? It has to be. So I go back and I tell them, this is the marketing plan. And they're going to say, but what are you going to do? How many Facebook posts are you going to do? Are you going to redesign the website? No, this is my marketing plan. My name is on this, not on the new website. So there are two other things that you need to know about marketing plans. Is one, marketing is all about trial and error all the time, and we have to make space for these errors, because 9 times out of 10 we don't get it right, right? So when we want to create, when we look at, remember that video of Van Damme and the 2 Volvo trucks, and he was like sweating his leg? How many videos did Volvo make before that one hit? I know for a fact there was quite a few. They started out small, and they started seeing, okay, which are catching, until they got to one that was kind of like that, but not exactly. It was a girl walking on a tightrope between 2 trucks. And then they said, hey, it's working. Let's do this big. And they did, right? So all that process is part of the cost of making that video. But the sin that we make is we say, hey, we managed a video last year. Let's make 2 of them. How much did that video cost? Somebody will ask and say, how much did that video cost, Daniel? They'll say, oh, that was about, $150,000. What? Yeah, because you have to count all the other videos we did, and all the time we spent, and all the resources we put into it. And somebody said, no, but I could get, what's the big deal? I can get somebody to make a video for $2,000 next door here. Yeah, but no, it doesn't include the process, right? So we have to account for the whole process and for everything that goes into the way to get to that one thing that will work in each of these activities in each of its channels. And we never do that, right? We have to make an effort to be conscious about it. Another thing, if you don't measure it, it's like it never happened. It just never happened. So if you never measure that you came to the, you did something on social and you got leads out of it, you never got those leads because they were either attributed to something else, some other activity, or some other department takes responsibility for them, takes credit, or you just don't know, right? And so you don't know that, that you're doing all these stuff on social and they're really working, and you can do more. Or you don't know that you did stuff on social and it didn't work, and you should just cut it out. So you have these tentacles, right? A marketing CMO today is somebody who has tentacles and has 5 or 6 different stuff going all the time. It's constantly checking, how's this guy doing? How's that guy doing? And how's this channel doing? And okay, you're out. You take a bigger budget. And if you're going to take the same budget you had last year and just do the same thing and more, you're not doing your job. What you're doing is you're starting from scratch every year and saying, okay, put that spreadsheet together and say, how am I going to allocate my money to get new leads? Because social was in last year, and this year it's completely out. And so really, everything has changed. Thank you.